Let me count. You ready? One. Is it recording already? All right. Thumbs up, I guess we're recording. Good evening. The board has now returned from closed session and will begin the regular session of the Keys Union School District Board of Trustees meeting. 4.1, report out closed session items. We have nothing to report out. 4.2, approval amendment of agenda. We have several. We're going to amend 10.18, and that would be the action item for KTL Outdoor for Charter School. We're adding 8.3 SMS Student Council reports, and we're also going to add 10.7.1, the unaudited actuals. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Moving on to the flag salute. Yogurt, come on up. You guys could do the flag salute. Come on. Come on, Yogurt.
I thought you said fruit.
No.
I honestly did.
Please stand. Oh. Ready? Salute. For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys. Moving on to invitation to address the board. Do we have any? All right. Going on to announcements. 7.1, Spratling Middle School Carl's Junior fundraiser will be the 20th, and I think the 21st too, right? Yes, the 20th and the 21st. See, I read notes. The 7.2, KUSD active shooter training will be at Spratling September 21st. 7.3, Keys to Learning Charter K-6 Student Assembly would be September 26th. And then item 7.4 is Keys Elementary School Color Run, September 28th. Moving on to 8.1, staff reports. We've read them. Do we have any questions?
No.
All right. Okay, moving on to 8.2. I'm going to call a little recess because we have families still coming in, and I want to make sure that they're here. So we're going to call a recess for a couple minutes. You can pause the video at 6:00. join back in the meeting. We took a quick recess so the families could come in from the parking lot. And we're going to go to 8.2, reclassification of fluent English with Ms. Rosales.
We have a couple of families here present because their students have been reclassified as English proficient. So what that means is all the years that their families have been, helping them and dedicate time and energy to their schoolwork, to learning 2 languages, is an excellent effort. So I'm just going to say it in Spanish. I wish I knew Punjabi or Hindi, but I only know Spanish. So, gracias por estar presente, porque sabemos que ese trabajo no lo podían hacer solo sus hijos. Tenían que tener la ayuda de toda la familia, porque para aprender 2 idiomas es muy difícil, como muchos de nosotros ya sabemos, pero vemos la dedicación de ustedes con sus hijos y luego la gran alegría que ellos tienen ya saber, les va a dar más oportunidades ya que han alcanzado esto. So, muchísimas gracias por estar presente. So, solamente voy a leer los nombres, si no están, está bien, los voy a guardar y luego dárselo a los maestros para que ellos puedan dar su certificado. También después, si gusten, recoger unas galletas, no se tienen que quedar toda la reunión. So, después ya se pueden ir y sacar retratos si gustan. So you don't have to stay for the whole meeting. Sorry, Jeff. But you could stay as long as you'd like. There are some refreshments and some cookies, so if the family would like to take some with them, that is great. We know the hard work that it took to get your child here, not only the teachers and the principals, but also all the hard work that you have done as a family. So I'm going to list the names of students that have earned their certificate. If they're not here, I'll just save it until I can give it to their teacher or their principal, and then they'll pass it on to the student. So the first name I have here is Alan Mendoza Preciado. Ashleen Baines. Alex Cardenas. Martin Carrasco Ruiz. Yerek Dominguez Soto. Ramiro Girón Alvarez. Gerard Carr. Armando Mendez. Cesar Reyes. Now this one, there was 2 in the same family, Baljat and Gurjat Zangara. Mia Sanchez. Manarpan Singh. And this one, 2 in the family as well. Saul Suarez Ramos and Charlene Suarez Ramos. Dylan, another 2 in the same family. Dylan Valenzuela Urustegui and Alexander Valenzuela Urustegui. And then we have Diego Zuniga. Camila Pulido. And our last one was Dana Alvarado, but they're not here. And that's it. Thank you. Muchísimas gracias. Felicidades. Right,
Thank you,
that's
guys.
If I could just share a few words. I want to share with everyone that it is important that we absolutely learn English, and as immigrants, it's what we strive to do. But it is also very important that you as parents maintain that second language and your traditions, and your culture is what I think makes our nation a great one, and that is that we all bring something different. And learning more than one language, to me, is so very important. I came here at the age of 9, didn't speak a word of English, and as a result of amazing work by teachers and the communities that we've lived in, I was able to accomplish and become a superintendent, which I am very proud of. But to me, I am so proud of all of you and the support that your parents have given you as kids. But don't forget to keep your traditions alive. I think that's very important. Ms. Rosales, thank you for what you are doing. Your connection and ability to connect with parents and kids and bringing our EL program forward is amazing. I know your position is new, and we appreciate you taking it on, so thank you. I, too, unfortunately, am challenged with any other language other than Portuguese and Spanish. I can do Italian and French, but Punjabi or any of those, I'm not. I wish I were, which is, pero solo quiero saludar a todos, a los papás, decirle que es muy importante que son parte de la vida de sus hijos y su educación, y que es importante mantener dos lenguas y que sus tradiciones también, que cualquier país que tenemos, las tradiciones que traen aquí siempre pueden hacer una comunidad mejor que lo que la encontramos muchas veces. Gracias por todo.
And I say this every time we do this. It's such an amazing thing. For you students out there, when you get to high school and middle school, when you're categorized as an EL learner, it changes what classrooms you're in, what electives you get, what clubs you can join. So by completing this tonight, when you get into high school, you have a much open schedule to where you guys can pick more classes and stuff. So it's a huge accomplishment. You might not feel it today, but when you get to high school, you're gonna really feel that you made a difference on your education. Thank you. Anything else? All right, we're going to take a quick recess, grab some cookies, take some family pictures, enjoy your night, and then we'll give you a couple minutes, and then we'll start the meeting back up again. I think we're on. She's running for a cookie.
Water.
Quick celebration for the people off camera. Moving on to item 8.3, yogurt. And your buddy? Come on up. Student report.
Hello, we're student representatives of Spradley Middle School. I'm Yosef Toledo, an 8th grader at SMS, as well as president of Student Council.
I am Beja Barajas, an 8th grader at SMS and member of Student Council. The first thing we will talk about is back to school night that took place August 18th. It was a great success, including free hot dogs and snacks. We fortunately had many students and family come and visit the classrooms and meet their teachers. 6th grade also had a meeting regarding sixth grade camp this year.
During lunch on August 26th, Kona Ice visited our campus and offered shaped ice for varied prices. We kicked off our volleyball season Tuesday, August 30th, hosting the Turlock Junior High. As we took the win, our current score is 2-2, 2 wins, 2 losses. Our first soccer game took place on September 12th against Waterford Tigers. We unfortunately lost.
During lunch, we provide activities to entertain our students. On Friday, September 9th, we had students participate in Patriot Day in honor of 9/11, with 57 students participating by wearing red, white, and blue. The Carl's Jr. fundraiser is arranged next week on September 20th and September 21st.
We had an escape bus come on campus for our 8th graders on August 12th. The students had fun, and this was something different and entertaining with the side of learning. We had a dress-up day, wear fall colors on September 21st.
Tomorrow, 4 students of Student Council will go on a short trip to Friends field trip with Student Council learning communication and leadership skills. FAST is going to have a field trip to FAST boot camp with the team learning about refusal to tobacco use.
This month's the student of the month was about empathy. This month's student, our 6th grader, Johnny George, for 7th grader, Christian Gonzalez, and for 8th grade, Valentina Ruiz. We're working on October activities and dress-up days as of right now, and the school dance is still in progress. In conclusion, we thank you for your time and hope you have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you. And they've been working at all the sports games and all that. They just don't talk about themselves. Grab some cookies, guys. Don't be shy. We're all watching. All right. Moving on to consent agenda items. Actions prepared for the consent calendar are consistent with adopted and approved policies of the district and are deemed routine in nature. They'll be acted upon in one motion without discussion unless members of the board request that an item be removed from the consent calendar. In that event, it'll be taken up in order indicated on the main agenda. We have 9.1, 9.2, 9.3, 9.4. Do we have any questions or concerns on any of those items? If not, do we have a motion to approve all?
Motion.
We have a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Moving on to action items. 10.1, approval of certificated classified confidential management personnel action. This one was actually pretty clean this month. It's usually pretty flustered. Any questions or concerns?
Door stopping a little bit.
Any questions or concerns? Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I've got a first from Mike. Jimmy, you want a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to 10.2, approval of 2022-23 Atkins, Anderson, Loyal, Rudd, and Roma. It's our agreement with our special services. Mr. Brazil?
Yeah, so this is just an MOU or an agreement to use the services of Atkinson, Anderson, and Loya, so which we continue to do, and it's prices, nothing has changed. It's just the contract that is who we go to for any of the special needs of the district. We continue to also have Lozano Smith as another that we consult with if we need to.
And this is for our law firm. Any legal questions or any issues like
How
that?
long they been with us? Quite a while, huh?
3 years?
3 years. We had Lozano Smith prior to that exclusively, and then there was a number of things that we felt we got better advice and more expertise in Atkinson Anderson, and so we've used them.
Actually,
They're also at the county office. They have an attorney there for any questions. Anyone can call from any district as long as, so the county office provides that service also for consult if we need to.
probably your second year, we went to Merced function and we met them.
Exactly.
And that's when we decided that maybe we should shop.
I remember you guys talking about.
Yeah, I was very impressed with their seminar, I guess. they weren't even selling themselves. They were just discussing electrical,
Yeah.
solar panels. And I was really impressed with how much they shared and how they talked to the room, not themselves.
No, and I think what happens with a lot of these firms is, of course, they have turnover and expertise come and go. And so they've always been they're constantly sending out emails on awards that their attorneys are able to get. But we consult with them. I think what we find is that they respond fairly quickly. And when we need the response to be quick. I think we have a great partnership with working with them. So.
And they explain for me to understand.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yes.
a different.
Very important.
That's the best
Very
way.
difficult,
Yeah,
very
that's
important.
the best way I can explain how I feel treated by them. So it's great. Any other questions or concerns? We have a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
We have a first, do we have a second?
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to 10.3, public hearing for instructional materials for 2022-23. We're going to open that at 6:25. Anything to add to that?
No, this is just a housekeeping item that we do every year. What we have to assure is that we have sufficient instructional materials for all students. So whether it be textbooks, Chromebooks, all of those supplies that are considered instructional materials, which have changed over the years, of what's considered and not considered. The board has to recognize that, yes, we do. If we do not, then we would have to provide those, and it's one of the Williams findings. If they come to visit and they find that you don't have sufficient materials or aren't providing it to all students, then you get written up, and it goes on for year after year. Yep.
Once you get on that report, they keep checking you.
Yep.
All right, any questions or concerns? All right, I'm going to close public comment at 6:26. 10.4, approval resolution 2022-23-02, instructional materials for the 2022-23 school year. Mr. Brazil?
And so we're asking that the board approve the resolution, and we are certifying that we have sufficient instructional materials for the year.
Any questions or concerns? Motion to approve?
I'll motion.
I have a first, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to 10.5, approval of extension of COVID-19 MOU between CSEA and the district every month.
Yep, so this is another month continued. I think all of you saw that today the governor actually rescinded as of September 17th, the requirement for non-vaccinated employees of school districts and including other agencies will not have to be tested weekly as they have been since 2021. So again, this will be the last week that we're doing that, and as of the 17th, based on what he rescinded today, we will no longer have to do so. It does include some verbiage about whether the county enters into an area of which I don't even...
Like a spike or something?
Yeah, I don't even want to think about those kinds of things, but there is some language saying that if, for example, the public health in your county deems that we need to return to that they may do that. So just, that's where we are.
They should have stopped it a long time ago.
You know what I think is odd? I never knew anybody that had COVID in that first year. Never heard of anybody, anything, but it seemed to run rampant. But now that it's no mask, everything's kind of came to an even keel. Now everyone I know seems to be getting it.
I think it's second, third rounds. It's
Is
just,
that what you think so?
Blue now.
yeah. All right, do we have a motion to approve the MOU for another month?
I'll make that motion.
We have first, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Might beat you, Jeff. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to 10.6, public hearing for the GAN limits and unaudited actuals. We'll open that at 6:29. You're up, Mr.
You're up.
Verduzco. Your first time on your own.
Wow.
It is. I miss Stephanie.
Did you take a drink of water? Are you okay?
I did. I'm good.
Cookie or
I'm good. Maybe after. So I'm here tonight to present unaudited actuals. This is how we closed the books for the previous school year. Everything in the report that I am talking about today is unaudited, and the balances are considered estimates until we go through the auditing process, which our final audit will be October 31st, or will begin October 31st. If you go ahead and pull your packets,
And it will be a treat, not a trick.
It'll be amazing.
You want the fat packet or the skinny one?
The bigger one.
The bigger pack.
Go ahead and turn to page 2.
I'm there.
Okay. On page 2, this is a summary of each of the reporting periods and how they change throughout the period, throughout each period. If you notice, from adopted budget to unaudited actuals, we actually ended 1.66 million higher than we had originally estimated, which is a good thing. If you turn the page to page 3, this is the worksheet that outlines all the resources that we received throughout the year. And if we turn to page 4, this is the one you guys are mostly familiar with. This is the outline of our ending fund balance and what we have set aside for reserves. If you look at line 7, we have 5,516,487 as our ending balance. Of that, we have 1.3 million for reserves, which is the board approved 9.5%. From there, we have a $5,000 for revolving cash. We have 408,503 set aside for technology, which we may have to increase because our technology is quickly coming out of date. So it's very important for testing that we keep our technology up to date. We have a 50,000 set aside for maintenance, 298,555 set aside for textbooks and supplies, 59,679 set aside for transportation. And this year, typically in a year, any carryover for, or any money left over for your supplemental concentration funds would fall to your bottom line. But this year, we no longer can do that. We have to assign those balances and carry them over to the next year. And those funds must be used to implement and or enhance actions and services in our LCAP. So because they become restricted funds in the end. So we have, for 21-22 supplemental concentration, we are carrying over 355,915. And I don't know if you guys remember last year, Stephanie talked about the additional 15% that we're getting for concentration that we have to spend on new staffing. Of that, we're carrying over 237,238. That's because this past year we had a really hard time hiring people, so we weren't able to use up those funds. This year, everything's looking a lot better from what I can see out of these funds. We are still needing to hire 2 paras for KES and an office assistant. So not too bad compared to where we were last year. And then finally, we have 396,450 set aside for lottery and 1.1 million set aside for our restricted side, which is made up of our ELOP funds, our after-school program funds, and our lottery, our restricted lottery. And then finally, we have 1.17 million in unassigned unappropriated funds, which leaves us with a total reserve of 17.8. And then if you go ahead and turn the page, on page 5, our historical fund balance looks very healthy. That is thanks to the attendance yield that the government put in place, or the state put in place. So it was to help with the ADA cliff that we were headed into, and it has really helped a lot. So if we go ahead and turn the page to page 8 for KTL, they also have a very healthy ending fund balance. They ended the year 1.6 million higher than where we were projecting. The only thing with them, though, is also last year, Stephanie talked about CDE and how they were overpaying the apportionments for charter. It was about 430,000 last year. Well, they're doing it again. So this year, it's 582,000. So even though their ending fund balance is 3 million 3.2 million, we really have to take out that 582,000 to get that picture, that clearer picture. But overall, it's still a very healthy ending fund balance. And then if you turn the page to page 9, you'll see their historical fund balance. Once again, you'll see that very drastic jump from 2021 to 21-22. That also has to do with the overpayment by CDE. And also, we carried over 242,000 of EPA funds that can only be used for instructional purposes. I scraped everywhere I could to try to meet those dollars, but I came out $242,000 short, so we'll have to carry it over to next year and use up those funds then. That's it. Any questions?
Wes?
Wow, well, the first one that comes to mind is probably trivia, but why, on these graphs, why is it green and 2 blues? Does that blue
Okay.
represent something that I don't know?
So the green is actuals. So they've already been through audits, and that's exactly how we ended the year. And the blue are more projections.
Gotcha. Oh,
Yes.
thank you for that.
And the issue with the charter, it's amazing how CDE, not only did they make the first mistake and then were pointed out, please correct it, didn't find a way to correct it, and did it again. So it really does inflate their fund balance, but they are healthy, just as Raul has stated. But
And the county really stepped up this year and made sure to separate those funds into an account that clearly states that this is the overpayment. So our charters can see that.
So what happens if we spent that money?
We would, if we spend all that money, we will owe the state that amount.
And they would, honestly, they would begin to
make us
take it
pay,
back.
right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you'll get a bill.
It's
I
incredible.
would get a bill. I love it.
They would be quicker to take it back than they are to
Hi, guys.
correcting.
Have you had to phone Stephanie or anything at any point?
Every once in a while, she did go on a beautiful vacation, so there was a couple weeks where.
Hi, guys. Are you here for the reclassification? Yeah, we've already done that. Your teacher or your principal will give you a certificate if you want to grab some cookies and a drink on the way out. How'd you do on the soccer game?
Did you win?
How'd you do? Oh, nice.
Good.
Beautiful.
A much better game than yesterday, huh? Grab some cookies for your family.
Thank you for coming in, though. We appreciate it.
I would have chose the soccer game, too. I was forced to be here.
Yeah, that's true.
Guys, have a good night, and then you'll hear from your teacher or your principal with the certificate. Thank your mom for bringing you. Sorry, bro.
No, it's okay.
You got some cookies. It was worth it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Not yet, but I'm sure she will soon.
Ghost.
So you were saying that you did make a call then?
I made a call a few times. She did come into the office, and we sat down for a while, just discussing things over.
Okay, well, I think you did an excellent presentation.
Thank you.
It was beautiful, yeah. Thank you for that.
Awesome, thank you.
Raul has absolutely stepped up to the
it's a
plate.
home run.
Yeah,
He
he was so busy all day, he didn't even text me back.
He absolutely will continue to, seek help, because I think that's what we all do when we have questions. It's always better to ask than to act on our own without it. So I think Raul has learned that from day one with Stephanie. But the one thing he's carried is, in most decisions, is what would Stephanie do? So if he
had that
asks
picture
that
for a
of you,
while.
you have to be prepared to analyze it pretty well.
But the important thing is, he's came into his own.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, I see it in your presentation.
Thank you.
You're commanding the mic tonight, and I definitely saw that, so.
I appreciate that. Thank you,
Yeah,
Wes.
very much so.
And the first part of the audit was amazing and went well, and so, no, he is doing just fine.
All right, all right. Keep up the good work.
Just a little bit.
He's a lot more grumpy than he used to be, though. But,
Goes with his job.
Maybe I don't want those text messages returned. All right, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to close public comment at 6:39 if there's nothing from the audience. And again, Raul, sorry for disrupting, but had to take care of the soccer player over there. Moving on to item 10.7. Again, we broke this up, so we're going to do them individually. Approval of resolution 2022-2303, adoption of the 2021-22 and and 23 gain limits. That's item 10.7. Do we have a motion to approve? Raul? Got a thumbs up from Raul? We have a first. Do we have a second?
I'll approve it.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Now, item 10.7.1, that's what we've added on, and that's the unaudited actuals. Raul, thumbs up? We got a thumbs up. We have a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
We have a first. Mike, you want a second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. You made it, Raul. You made it. Moving on to 10.8, approval of 2022-23 3% increase for Head Start management salary schedules, and these are done through the county, not through us, but we have to approve it as the governing board.
So the district serves as an oversight for the federal program. So.
Any questions or concerns? There's a couple of those items. Motion to approve?
Motion.
We have a first. Mike, you want a second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to item 10.9, approval of 2022-23 3% increase for Head Start support salary schedule.
So this comes about as a result of, there's an issue with STRS. The State Teachers Retirement Fund is conducting audits, and our county office happens to be one of them. And so the reason why we're taking out an associate degree from an actual title on the salary schedule is because it no longer is relevant for what we have been reporting. And so the county has asked us to fix those, and so that's why it's before you.
And in 3 months, they'll want it right back.
Probably. I had a tough time with it, but I'm just going to leave it at that.
Any questions or concerns? Motion to approve? I have a first.
I second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 They're constantly changing
And
every
just so you
single.
know, poor Dana had to add this as a last-minute thing because I was being very, I just wasn't taking their malarkey, and so I wanted to make sure that we were having to do it. So I made her put it back, and she didn't have much time to do it. So
Well, it's a whole paragraph. She probably, I hope she copied and pasted it. All right, moving on to item 10.10, approval of Head Start associate teacher intern substitute job description in addition to these positions to the Head Start support salary schedule.
So that's
Says it as it is.
Absolutely.
Any questions or concerns? Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first, do we have a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to 10.11, approval of Infinity Communications Category 1 E-rate consulting service contract renewal for the 2022-23 school year. Mr. Brazil?
So this is a consulting service that we've used for multiple years, where each year we apply for what they call E-rate funding, which is federal funds for communications and technology. So we actually qualify at 80%. So most of our funding is, for example, if we're purchasing something that's $100,000, they provide us with 80,000 of it. And so we're asking that we continue with them. They are a great service. They have never missed any deadlines. They're very informative, and so we ask that you approve.
And we give them a small cut, and they handle all the
They do.
the
They
behind
take
the
care of the
scenes.
whole thing. And they're approved by the federal government as one of the entities that can consult and provide those services.
That'd be a-
They're monitored very much.
That'd be a whole nother thing thrown on the DO's off plate.
Yes.
Any other questions?
What, you said we give them a cut?
They get a percentage of the funding. Yes, they charge a fee.
Oh, I got you, okay.
So whatever they do, it's like a
Get a cut.
like a subcontract, like a cut.
They get a cut.
A stipend or a fee.
It's like a subcontract, you know. Any other questions or concerns? We have a motion to approve? We have a first, we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to 10.12, approval of 2022-23 KUSD certificated stipend schedule, removal of the 21-22 summer school teacher rate and pay, and the addition of the substitute teacher rate of pay, external through the end of the 2022-23 school year. Mr. Brazil.
So this is as a result of the COVID funds that we increased salaries for both summer school and for substitutes. This is what we're asking you to do now is obviously it was temporarily put on those contracts and on those salary schedules. So now we're going back to where we were prior. However, we are continuing, for example, with the rates for our substitutes, we're continuing through the end of this year, which would be June 30th of 2023, this current school year.
All right. Any questions or concerns?
We did indeed, absolutely, yes.
Good question.
And I will say that probably the thing that it was tough even with those extra funds to get substitutes, especially. It still is. I mean, the shortage of teachers is pretty bad. So I'm thankful that we were, but I kind of knew that it would be. What I worry is that we are all at the end of 22, 23 still face a shortage, but the funding that's allowed us to be competitive and to offer these higher offers is not going to be sustainable. And so that's one of the worries.
Yeah, but the other schools aren't getting the special funding either, so they're going to be in the same boat we are.
But some of the larger districts are able to compete on salary schedules very unlike ours, so we will definitely be at a disadvantage.
Good question. Any other questions or concerns? Motion to approve?
I motion.
We have first, we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to item 10.3, approval of KTL FTE reduction from 0.4066 to 0.183 in the 712 coordinator prior to posting on EdJoin.
So this item, both Ms. McGinnis and I met, and we discussed the position of the coordinator with having a coordinator leave the district. I think we also looked at the enrollment, and it was time to kind of revamp and to relook at that program. So what we're asking is that you approve this reduction in staff, and Jill was very forward and very upfront about sharing with her staff what it was, and we are dealing with it based on stipends for coordinators and not a single one person full-time at the charter as it was before. So we're asking that the board approve.
And Ms. McGinnis, you got a couple items here. I was really happy to see them all, and they all kind of like link together like Legos, and it all makes sense on paper.
Like Legos.
So well, you see one, you're like, how's that possible? But then you add them all together, and it made sense on paper. So.
And I just want to share that I think Jill has worked and really worked hard at this, because it was not just an easy thing to do. And she's obviously, you know, anytime you're trying to deal with a position, it becomes high emotions at times. And so I want to really commend Jill for doing the right thing and sticking with it. I know it's been tough, but it's going to get better.
It's actually on YouTube. All right, any other questions or concerns? Thumbs up, Ms. McGinnis? Yes? All right. Any questions or concerns? Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
We have first, we have second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to item 10.14, approval of KTL new position, 7-8 program advisor, job description and stipend. Along the same lines, they broke up this position and solved it their way.
Yep.
Is the best way to describe it.
That is.
Any other questions or concerns? Motion to approve?
I'll motion.
I have a first, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to item 10.15, approval of KTL new stipends, teacher in charge, 712 yearbook advisor, and induction coordinator. Along the same package, they all on paper, it looks great. Any questions or concerns? Anything to add, Mr. Brazil?
Just to add that induction is what we as a district have to provide any new teachers who are trying to clear their credential. It's a 2-year program, and so that word is not something, it used to be called BITSA, and so now it's called induction. So just so that you know what it is.
And is the charter school doing the same plan as we are?
Yes.
Great. That was a tough plan to put together. They figured it out great, though. I'm glad you're using it. Any other questions or concerns? Motion to approve?
I'll motion.
First, I have a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. 10.16, approval of KTL stipend increases, teacher, advisor, extra duty work, instructional, non-instructional, induction support provider, substitute teacher, external through the end of 2022-23 school year. And that wraps up all her all her staffing issues.
Say that 10 times fast.
I can't. I don't even know how Dana can type.
I was going to say the beauty of this for Jill is she's finished with negotiating. She's finished. This is the end product of negotiation.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve?
I motion.
First, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And I know it's a lot of items, but it was really helpful that you brought them all at the same time so we could compare and piece it together and it all made sense again. Like I said, if you would have brought one at a time, it would have been a little confusing on our part, I think, and probably on yours because you'd lose track. But appreciate everything.
She's a professional, Jeff.
Okay, so sorry I doubted her, Wes. Moving on to item 10.17, approval of 2022-23 Foothill Horizons for Spratling Middle School. And this is something we always do. I had one concern I voiced with Mr. Brazil about the number of students, because we have to give them an idea. Our sixth grade is very high at 89 students, and we're paying for 70, but I went through the contract, and we can raise it up to 110%. So if every single student wants to go, we can fund it. The likely that they're not going to go is there's families that don't approve it, don't want to, it doesn't fit their schedule, doesn't fit their mommies, doesn't want their babies to go out. So,
And it's funded through our LCAP, so not only does it qualify, even if we had to increase some of the funding that Raul said that's a carryover, that would be a perfect use of those funds should we need to increase it.
What did we do with the funds in 2018 or 19?
They were, because of the cut short,
Correct.
they held it and they are going to credit us at when they get through with this next set of going around.
So they will credit.
Yeah. There was discussion at the county as to whether that was how they were going to do it. It's kind of like the state. How do we reimburse for something that we don't necessarily know how? Unless, Raul, they've sent it. Not that I'm aware of. No.
but my whole concern is it's a high class. I wanted to make sure that there was an opportunity, because some years we have 30 kids not go. Some years we have 5. So I really wanted to make sure, but it's in the contract, so.
And even more important, Mrs. Ruger has assured that they are all vaccinated. Aren't they?
No, TB.
Yeah.
With their
Tonight.
TB shot, no other vaccination.
Right. No, I'm not talking about, no, yeah. No, I'm glad you clarified. That's not, no.
That was a hassle during COVID.
It's hard.
Pre-COVID, everybody went to the doctor. Okay, so we have a motion to approve that contract.
I'll motion.
We have a first, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. And we added item 10.18 because McGinnis just had everything else to add. Might as well add their charter school outdoor ed, and that's up to 100 students for 5th through 8th grade. Do you have any idea of participation? How many you think you're going to take? Oh, all 100. All right, that's great. Jimmy said 100. I said, that says up to 100. He's like, no, all 100 will go. So, Jimmy, you're right.
Well, once in a while.
So we have a motion to approve their outdoor ed.
I'll make that motion.
We have a first. Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to discussion items, ESSER 3 and facilities project. Mr. Brazil.
So on the facilities projects, we are getting closer and closer. The problem is we're at the point of where we're finally getting some figures or some estimates from the architects as to the full pricing of the projects that we have listed based on what they're seeing as current wages, costs of materials. So it's a little scary because it looks like if we don't, when we go out to bid, if indeed the bids come as high as we're perhaps anticipating, we will have to do some prioritizing and have the board look at how do you want to proceed, because our funding may not be as high as we, the ESSER funds won't cover all of those projects. So we're still, I'm a little optimistic in the sense that, there's this crazy of everybody's going out to bid right now, and people are kind of saying, if it's a small project, we don't even want to deal with you, that maybe that will change in the coming months. Again, they keep changing, they may change, there's word that they may extend the ability to expend those funds further out beyond 2026, but that I
makes
can't
that
guarantee.
decision?
Government.
Congress for the federal funds and yeah. So that's kind of where we are. I will keep everybody on track. So that includes the track and all of that work. Jimmy, we haven't forgotten.
Turn right.
And then, Mr. Brazil, you brought up to me that maybe when we get close, we do a special board meeting or a workshop so we can be all on the same page?
Yes, I think it will be very crucial that once we have bids turned in, we really need to have a meeting to take a look at what is it that we want to do. And again, I'm hoping that things will change and that we'll be able to have everything covered and that we'll have the funding to do that. But if we don't, we do need to prioritize and look at the things that are most in need. For example, one of the projects that I think will come in very high is obviously the windows here at KES, but it is probably the most important of the work because they really are, I mean, they leak. Not just air, but water, and they're to me, approaching a health issue. So those are the kinds of things that I think we'll have to, I don't want to cry, Chicken Little and the sky is falling, but I also want us to be realistic that some of these bids that people are issuing are a little scary.
Are those the new windows that we had put in when they did the walls?
No, we didn't have new windows put in. We had work done around the windows. That's why they're boxed. They're hidden behind the walls. We wanted the windows removed, and we got extraordinary price we couldn't touch it. We had no funds then. So then that's when we built that fake pony wall that it works for the classroom, but the windows are still the same windows. There were a couple of new windows up on top put in. We're not talking about those. We're talking about the full walls on 7th Street.
Oh, stucco?
Well,
Stucco over them?
That's what we wanted, but we couldn't afford it last time.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
That'd be the cheaper way.
Well, the problem with that is that it was the project had to be approved by CDE, had to be approved by, and it had to be with ventilation and windows. So that's how we were able to get that approved through. And if you remember, Stephanie and I had quite a tough time submitting some of these things. And again, some of them are still going through the ESA, which doesn't mean that they're approved yet.
Do we have a specific person that tackles that kind of project?
That'd be Eric.
We don't, do we? I don't know. I mean,
That'd be
might be
Eric.
a silly question, but.
No, it's basically Raul, Eric, and I sit in on an awful lot of meetings.
But when we did the modernization, Jeff, we put it all together. We thought we could afford it all, and the numbers came in, and we had to cut the glass, which Jimmy and I were not happy with, but we couldn't afford it. We really wanted those windows covered up and not the fake wall. It just was not doable. And maybe now with this extra funding, we can do it.
And while we're on that, I just want to also remind the board that we have done an awful lot of work on roofing. And so the projects that have been done for the last 4 to 5 years have really helped maintain the facilities. I mean, they were in very poor state. And again, these are old buildings, and they need tender care once in a while. And I think for a very long time, a lot of the things were kind of neglected. So the thing we're facing now more than anything, and I think Jill can attest to this, is the air conditioning units. It seems like they are, every other one, obviously they go out when it's 200 degrees, but we've had more failures and have ordered more air conditioners than I think we ever thought we were going to do so.
I just did a YouTube search the other day about planned obsolescence.
Yeah.
Wonder if that has any, right?
And then back to the windows, we really thought pull out the window stucco, that's super cheap. It did not turn out that way. You would think like some 2x4s, but they're talking about headers and structural and all kinds of stuff. It was pretty intense. We didn't think it was any.
Change out a window?
I'm laughing because Raul and I sit in those meetings, and it really is kind of like, I have absolutely no clue what they just finished saying. I really don't.
It was pretty crazy, and
Keep very close.
Yeah, well, no, Eric does. No,
but that's why we didn't do it before. I mean, it would have made sense to do it during modernization, but we would have been able to do one building instead of 5 wings. So that was a choice that we took, even with the information we had at the time and funding. So, but even if we do have funding, I still would recommend a workshop for us all to be on the same page.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that was the intent. I mean, we were having some meetings even just about the track, but we had them for just all of the projects. But again, we're still kind of at the phase of we're finally getting these figures from an architect who is basing it on current market conditions and what he sees. Those aren't exact bids, so I'm just anticipating that, boy, it's not looking good with just his anticipation. I'm just hoping that he's anticipating very high and that the actuality will be low, but we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully.
But
Yeah,
it's way too soon for us to get involved.
right.
All right, moving on to reports. Superintendent report, Mr. Brazil.
Okay, well, the
Gosh,
first
that's what I thought we were just talking about.
We're talking about
There's
Jimmy's
more.
track.
There's more even. Now, so the first month has come and gone. I think it's been relatively smooth beginning to the year. We continue to work on the committee to update both our safety plan and our wellness policy. We've met once and we'll be meeting again soon. Our hope is to bring the safety plan to the board for approval in October. What we've also asked is based on the two active shooter trainings that we've had both on the 7th and that we'll have on the 21st, some of the suggestions and things that those individuals and being on our campuses and seeing how we could best react to lockdowns and things, we will use that expertise as well. And they have offered that if we need additional services, I'm sure that they would cost, but I mean, we want a safety plan that's indicative of what our site's needs are. So I thought the training, I want to thank Mr. Murray, the entire staff that came, because we split up, you know, the whole district into two, because we knew that we couldn't all be in one facility at once. So we did have to cancel after-school programs and all of that, but the trainings were, I think, very well taken by individuals. I did not hear anybody, they're scary, they're intense, and they really do make you think of things. And unfortunately, it's so sad that we've gotten to the point, it's no longer, well, it'll never happen here. No, it can happen here, and it can happen anywhere. And what I had to kind of and share with everybody is you can't be 100% covered and have a plan for every single scenario. You do your best, and that's the best that we can do. We continue to look at enrollment numbers and hope the trend will turn positive soon, but it doesn't seem to be. Our COVID-19 funding maintenance projects, as I shared, we're making our way through there, and I'll keep you updated with those as we get bids. I want to thank our labor unions for supporting and allowing us to continue with our MOUs with COVID. I want to congratulate all of the reclassified students that were here tonight. They've worked very hard to reach this designation, and we're very proud of their work. We're scheduling dates to visit classrooms with the board in the coming weeks. I think it's time that we get going on that, so I'll be sending out some dates for all of you. I believe they were in the Friday letter, so if you want to look up on my calendar, it's
Oh, Jimmy, you saw it?
no, they're on there, but if you'll look and just let me know. If we have more than 3, then we just post it as a special meeting. It's not a big deal. So, September, yep. Sports are doing well after last week of extreme heat where everything was canceled. We had nothing but issues. I want to thank the coaches and the students for their hard work and really their patience. And I know that the kids played incredibly well yesterday. I guess today wasn't as good, but they're doing their best. I had the honor of attending the National Honor Society ceremony last night at KTL, which was very neat and very interesting to me. I had not attended prior, and so this was a great opportunity to see kids pledging to really be outstanding individuals in their communities by volunteering, by seeking their education and having goals and ethics and morals and pride in their communities and dedicating it to service. I met with I attended today, rather, a 6th grade career kind of assembly or science assembly. You know, 6th graders are, middle school and junior high are obviously very different, but 6th graders are just they're just a different group. And I would bet that there was probably 100 questions about these were people from respiratory, from Emmanuel Hospital, therapists that came out to talk about respiratory issues and all of this, and just some of the things they associate with those things were kind of humorous. I thought I had a good time, but anyway, they were honestly, they were as best as 6th graders can be. They were good. And I really wanted to thank the staff, as did Mrs. Ruger, for Emmanuel letting them come out and presenting. It was very nice. I met with CSEA Keith's chapter and worked on language clarification, so we agreed to meet again on September 28th. The union wanted to have a look at the unaudited actuals before we met again. So I think in terms of language, both with CTA and CSEA, we have cleaned it up, and I think we're ready to move forward with salary and benefits. And We will, at the next meeting, have a presentation by Ms. Souza on the CASP state assessment tests, how our kids have done. So we want to share that with everyone, but we also want everyone to understand that we have nothing to compare it to the prior year because those weren't reported. And I also want to preface this before the next meeting that it's a test score. It's not indicative of what a true student may be. It's what we're measured against. We don't have a choice, but I want us to think that there's more to, some of us are great test takers, some of us are not. So it's one measure. So keeping that in mind as we make our presentation. So that's all I have.
All right, any questions?
None.
All
I
right.
don't have much, but,
Jimmy, I haven't said your name yet.
well,
I said any
pretty
questions?
sure
All right, I'm moving on to 12.2.1. Mr. Emmons?
oh, me?
Yeah, now it's your turn.
I don't have much to say, but these projects, all the projects that are scheduled to be done, I hope we can complete them all, or close to it, because they're all good projects. They're all projects makes the school a much better school. The roofing projects they've been doing, they're not just patching the roofs, putting a layer.
I was wondering that.
No, they take it right down the wood. They're going down to where this building was built.
The thing is, Jimmy, if without that, though, all this fails.
Well,
Yes.
so they wouldn't cover the warranty unless they did it what they
whole
need to. And Eric wanted the warranties. He said, I'll pay a little bit more, so I have 20-year
move,
warranties.
yeah.
When the
good
last time
deal.
they did that?
Well, I don't know if they've ever done it that, I don't know.
Spratling was just overlaid a couple of years ago, and that didn't last long
Yeah.
at all.
I was going to say, I think that actually was like 7 years.
That's just roll
Are they
paper out
finding
there.
dry rot or anything?
They have, in some areas, not so much at Spratling. But here, yes, on almost every project, although
get
we had
pictures.
built a contingency on every one of the projects that we did not go over budget on any one of them.
They guesstimate 10% or whatever that magic number is, and they've all.
Cover that little bit
Yeah.
of dry rot, yeah.
But Eric is doing these jobs like he would his house,
Absolutely.
I believe. You know, he does it the right way. And a lot of times it puts a lot more work on him to go out and get these jobs done that way. But he does that.
You know, Jimmy, what you just said was when we were talking about the windows and we wanted to maybe have a special little powwow to talk about this later.
Yeah.
First thing I thought was, I looked at it as, you know, we need to have that powwow as if it was for our own house.
Yeah.
And you iterating that, I think that's amazing, yeah.
Not just kick the can down the road, let's do it right.
Yeah, for sure.
But so I'm hoping we can get them all done, and I'm really happy the way the school is going this year. I haven't been to many sports games, but when I have, the kids seems like they're having a ball. You know, they're involved, having fun. And they're getting better, ain't they?
Yeah, you poke your head in. I don't think you want to sit with me and Jeff, though.
What'd you say?
You stand by the door like you're better than us.
No,
I
no.
know, you two are fanatics, that's
You
why.
guys are all locked arms. There's no place to sit over there. Let's stay where I can get out of the
Well, he
way.
did go to the game that it was packed.
Yeah.
There was so many people there.
Anyway, that's all.
All right, Mr. Green.
Oh, well, one, you know, I'm probably going to get a boo for this, but wouldn't it make sense if we kept the audience here until the end?
Can't keep people
Award
here.
these kids at the end.
That's a punishment.
Oh, no, Jeff. Come on.
They don't want to hear us.
Oh, really? I don't know. I just got that. I thought, wow.
Can't lock the door.
Not that I love our audience that we have right now.
These kids want to see us in their classrooms. They want to
How
see
do
us
we
at the
know that
games.
you're only thinking that?
Trust me, we're bored.
Are we boring?
Absolutely.
Are we boring?
I'm waiting for your speech to
Thank
get done.
you.
This is my favorite night of the whole month.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay, so then my next thought was, I
Uh-oh.
really, as, you know, sometimes I'll daydream during this.
Oh,
You're kidding.
I thought the meeting was important. Why are you daydreaming?
Well, I'm just saying, every once in a while, I just fade off, and one of the things I thought was, I sure miss some masks, because, not that the meeting's boring, but every once in a while, I may have to yawn, and I can't. But with that mask, I could throw in a yawn there.
You just said you want the students and the families to suffer
Jeff,
through a boring
and you
meeting.
call this boring? No.
Glad we're on YouTube.
Well, yes. And Raul, thank you, my friend. You just, you know, obviously when I walked in, I looked at you and I went, ooh, right? It's important to me, you know, having enough money to sustain any of the bad times, if they ever did come up, that's so important to me. And in my life experience, it's crucial. And having you give your thoughts tonight and reviewing the budget, I thought you did a fabulous job, my friend. It was flawless. So I don't know how you felt about it, but I sure felt that I was comfortable and confident in everything you said. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Is that where you were yawning?
Well, that wasn't the time I was yawning. I won't tell you when. Other than that, thank you, everybody. Obviously, I'm happy to see everybody, and I'll turn the mic over to you now.
All right,
Mr.
Ms.
President.
Burnell, you got to top that.
No comment. I have no comment.
Moving on to Mr. Greener.
No comment.
Oh, really? Jeez. I have a whole bunch, so you guys can start yawning. again.
Right.
I had a great time at the.
Uh-oh.
Yosgerto brought up the escape room. I had a great time at the escape room. And not only was it fun, exciting, and I was just running around screaming like we were stuck there forever, seeing which student stepped up and solved a puzzle or solved a mystery or connected the dots, 100% of the time I was wrong on which student it was going to be. And I know these students, and I know, I go to the classrooms, I know the families. It was the ones who I thought were going to solve it, overthought. And it makes me think, well, how much do we overthink, you know? And then the kids, it's just the quietest one would be the most solver in the trailer. And it was amazing. It was a program based for adults, but they made it a little easier for the kids, and the two trainers or the program coordinators, they were amazing with the kids. They knew when to give the right clues, and because sometimes you needed help. Some of that stuff was hard.
Did any of them make it out?
Every single one of them made it out because they made sure of it. They made sure that they gave the right clue or the right direction, and it was subtle and sweet, I guess, would be the right thing. It wasn't like, here's the answer. It was, you know.
They made them work for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then they were very good at, like, they would put two kids together because they knew that this one had half the clue and this one had half the clue. Some groups worked really well together. Some groups they split in half. It was, nobody talked about their plan. They just did it. And it was really fascinating. I really enjoyed being a fly on the wall watching it because some of the stuff was pretty hard and I didn't catch on to it until the second one. I was like, oh, that's where they got, because I sat through six sessions. And so the first one I kind of played, and then the rest I watched. And the second and the third one was my favorite because I watched the students connect the dots. And I thought it was great. It was super fun, and it was great to see them empower themselves or each other.
Did they all like it?
Yeah, I think they all had a great time. The teachers were all jealous sitting outside looking at it.
Yeah, huh? I bet.
So thank you for the invite.
We do that at the district office every Friday. Nobody gets to go home until.
Oh, no way.
We could do that at the board meeting. Then we could have a beer.
Oh, you might not yawn then. And then me and a couple board members, we went to the National Honor Society. Appreciate the invite. Also went to the ice cream social. And then I went to volleyball practice, and all the kids were jealous. I had ice cream all over my mouth. And then so when I said I have to leave the game, I got to go to the charter school. Then they want to know if I was getting more ice cream. So there's a competition on how much ice cream I'm eating. So I think they're making fun of me. And then Tuesday, we had brownouts and powerouts in town. Eric had to get called in on his vacation day. I was with Eric till about 7:30 that night, solving air conditioner issues and power. And then I left when Naomi from DataPath showed up because all the servers, the alarms, everything was down. We don't see how much they do behind the scenes, but I was really appreciative of Naomi. I don't know what she was doing. I know she was definitely off the clock, but she came right in from DataPath and got everything up and running. So the school was safe at night, and then everything was ready the next day. I really appreciate that. I saw her again today on campus, and I told her, I appreciate you coming in.
Problem.
Our next tournament for the volleyball and soccer is really good because it's not the board meeting week, so it's not going to conflict with ourselves. So we heard soccer won and both volleyball teams lost today. I've attended all the games. Jeff's attended all the games. We've done really well.
Besides today.
Yeah, and to go back, Wes, I believe as a board, we have tough decisions to make. We have all this stuff to do. It's boring. It's repetitive sometimes. But when you're at the games, when you're at the escape rooms, that's when the kids really want to see us, I think. And that's what I see. They don't want to see us up here make decisions that they don't understand what's going on. And then the parents, they're busy.
I get that.
I'm sure all those moms ran right home and cooked dinner. And by us dragging them and keeping them here longer, I would hate to do that. I agree with what you're coming at, but
Sure.
if you sit in the audience, we're pretty boring.
I didn't know that, Jeff. I never thought.
Well,
we
you
were
can sit
boring.
there and yawn, and I'll know the next time.
Next month.
All right, thank you all for coming. Did you guys, was it boring?
September 7th.
Don't answer. Moving on to the next board meeting will be September 13th, closed sessions at
That's
5.
today.
Jimmy. I don't know, Dana, I don't know what's going on.
It's October 15th, I believe. 11th?
Oh, that might be, no, that might be tournament then.
No, oh,
I think it's tournament.
it is. No, it's not. Tournament's the 4th, 5th, and 6th.
It is the 11th. It's October 11th.
Says, the bottom of the agenda says September 13th.
Yep.
Our agenda.
It's October 11th.
It's the 11th, yeah.
When's that? Do we know when the tournament is?
4th, 5th, and 6th.
Oh, so we're good.
Week prior.
Okay, perfect. So, Dana, this was a mistake that Mr. Emmons caught. Okay. So, what is it, October, what?
11th.
11th.
October 11th, closed sessions at 5:30. Is that the right time, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Regular sessions at
believe it is.
6. Do we have a motion to adjourn this really boring meeting, Wes?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Do we have a first? Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.